How's it going, everybody? My name is Sam Villa, and I hope you're having a very fantastic day. Now, wants versus needs. This is an age-old discussion, and as people, we're constantly having to decide between the two. But how do we tell the difference between what a need is and what a want is? Well, I thought we could use the power of poetry to learn more about that. So, I hope you can grab a pen and some paper and ride along with me today. Now, there's an infinite amount of ways you can go about writing this poem. Perhaps you might want to divide your poem into two stanzas, where in one you just talk about the things that you want, and in the second you discuss the things that you need. Or perhaps you're at a point in your life where you're trying to be better at prioritizing needs over wants. So maybe you want to use your poem to write about how you can go about doing that and achieving that. As for me, I think I'm more interested in the idea of how wants can deceive us into thinking that they're needs or that they're important when they're not. And even vice versa. So this is what I want to explore in my poem. With this poem, I wanted to try something new and something different. So I'll be inserting these mini synopses at the beginning of each stanza that consist of just a couple of the words in the following lines. Now, the purpose of this is just to set the tone of the stanza, as well as to foreshadow what I'll be discussing in my writing. One of the biggest things I've noticed about the argument between needs and wants is that we assimilate the two with good and bad, right? Needs are good, wants are bad. Or at the very least, wants are good, but needs are better. Now, even though there is truth to this concept, it isn't always as black and white as it seems to be. For example, say you want to be better at playing an instrument. Now, this may not seem like a need, but by working towards this goal, you're doing something good, that's something that can benefit other people and can bring you happiness. So I believe we shouldn't be so quick to shortchange the significance of our desires. But also, as you'll see at the end of this stanza, achieving our goals may not always bring us the level of satisfaction that we expect it to have. So we need to be careful of that. So this is how my next stanza is sounding so far. Winged wrestle. I latch onto the first winged beast to fly past my reach. But my pitiful passage is unpardoned, so we wrestle in the ring of a red sky, until I've rode this fightest flight to the untouched oasis of a beautiful cloud. I jump onto its surface, expecting celestial cushion. So I'm using these lines just to portray how, when we fail to find the level of gratification or joy we were expecting to find in one desire, we're sometimes so quick and eager to latch onto the next goal or the next thing because we can become desperate in finding happiness as quickly as we can. In regards to the ending of my poem, I wanted to highlight the way by which we go from wants to needs. Because I feel that it's only after we've obtained our desires and our wants that we can finally see what we actually need. So now that my poem is complete, it's time that we edit it. Because there are a couple instances where I feel like I'm not quite capturing what I want to say, or I'm not using the right words to do so. And the first place where I can see this issue happening is right here in my third line. I don't like the word marching. Obviously it makes me think of a soldier or like I'm on some sort of duty or mission, but that's not what it is. And I also want to be able to provide some more alliteration here because I'm a big fan of alliteration, when You have words that start off with the same consonant, the same sound. I don't know, I just like sprinkling those into my writing. I think it's kind of fun. So what I've been thinking is I want to change the word marching to stomping. So now that the line reads, stomping through slippery rock. Now I know that isn't, the greatest form of alliteration, but it just sounds better to me. And stomping can have this dismal or negative connotation to it, right? Because what I'm trying to capture here is how I'm drudging through this journey of mine. Now, kind of on the flip side, I think I'm using too much alliteration in the second stanza. I have, but my pitiful passage is unpardoned, and then the next line has also alliteration with, so we wrestle in the ring of a red sky. So I don't want to overdo it, and so I think I'm going to take out pitiful and use a word like beggarly. Now I also can't tell if I like the word choosing or the word chasing in this line here. The one that says, after choosing the prizes on shelves too high. Because, they both mean the same thing, really, or lead to the same endpoint, but can't decide which sounds better, and if choosing is not descriptive enough. Because really throughout my poem I have been chasing after these things, and so that might fit better. Now something else that I feel like I need to do is create a third stanza. Because I have these mini synopses here, or subtitles that introduce these stanzas, and I feel like, starting at bent, bruised, and battered, that's the end, right? That should be a different stanza, and so therefore it needs its own mini synopses. So I think I do want to separate it, and maybe I can put in there high and ground, to make high ground. So yeah, I think I'm ready to figure out the title now, and let's see what comes to mind. This is kind of an interesting idea. Oops. So an idea that comes to mind is lost in the winnings, which I like because there's that play on words between lost and win, just polar opposites of each other. Because what I'm trying to say in this title is how we can easily lose ourselves with all the things that we're chasing after, with all of our desires and wants. They can take over our lives. And even though we may be gaining these things, we aren't actually winning anything worthwhile. So honestly, I think I'm going to stick with this title because I think it's kind of fun. So now that we've edited it and given a title, I'll go ahead and read the whole thing to you guys right now. Lost in the winnings. Mangled rock. My spine is mangled by the 20-year pain of stomping through slippery rock. A mountain of sand masked by the cheap suit of leftover gravel. I reach its sinking peak only to find that I'm lower than where I could have stood. Achievement cheated by a change of view. Winged wrestle. I latch onto the first winged beast to fly past my reach. But my beggarly passage is unpardoned, so we wrestle in the ring of a red sky until I've rode this fight as flight to the untouched oasis of a beautiful cloud. I jump onto its surface expecting celestial cushion, but I'm met by jagged edges and harsh expanse. High ground. Bent, bruised, and battered, I step off the edge. After chasing the prizes on shelves too high, all I need now is to put my heels on the ground. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. This was an interesting poem, and even though it was focused on the difference between wants and needs, I feel like now I've been able to explore other topics as well. You know, you could see this poem through the light of dealing with ego or managing the results of high success and praise. You know, other things are talked about in this poem, which is really cool. Now, I'm not exactly sure if I liked my little mini synopses. I don't know, I feel like giving them these mini titles separates the poem too much instead of keeping it together. But I'm just gonna stick with it for now, you know, and let this marinate, for lack of a better word, just to see if I change my opinion on it. But I hope you guys were able to learn a lot through your own writing as well. I would love to see what you guys created using this video's theme. But I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, enjoy the journey. Bye.